Hi, I'm Marlon Braccia. Welcome to Yoga Time. This episode is the first in a two-part series that is designed to fix your back. I get a lot of email and messages that tell me that there are several people out there, many people, that have chronic back pain every day of their life. So instead of medicating, let's see if we can go to the source of the problem. To do that, I think the best approach is to first do some postures that relax the back. We'll do that in the first part of this series. And in the second part of this series, we will go on to strengthen the back, to actually cure the problem at its source. To begin, what we should do is figure out what exactly is happening with your back. So if you come to your feet and stand in front of a mirror in the most basic yoga posture of all, Tadasana, then you can start to figure out where there might be a shift. Standing erect with the big toes together and the heels slightly apart. Look in the mirror in profile. Now there are several things that happen. The most common thing that I see is that people sway into the small of their back. When you do that, it shifts the spine and it creates tension in the front of the neck. So if you're having neck problems, the chances are it's originating in this small part of the back. What we want to do is even the weight out on the feet, lift the sternum, create some space in particular between the navel and the solar plexus, which is between the bottom rib and the belly button. So that stretches out. Immediately when you do that, you feel that the sternum lifts. There's more opening here in the chest. Another thing that commonly happens with people who sit at their desk quite a bit is that they become very round-shouldered. Now, if you're round-shouldered, you still need to see where you're going, so that's what happens. That little bit of turtleneck. So I'm exaggerating so you can see that, but I actually do see people walking around like this, particularly elderly people. So looking at that in profile, see if you're starting to get that shape. To fix that, what you want to do is to tuck the tailbone under you, press the pubis back toward it. Feel that the collarbones spread and the hands are heavy. Same thing here in the solar plexus navel area. Stretch that area. Now feel that the weight from front to back on your feet and from side to side is even. Chances are by now you've figured out where your problem is. So, coming down to the ground again, let's address the very first issue, and that is relaxation. If you have back spasms at any time, here is the position to come into. Take the knees apart and into the chest. Let's just spin that around. Okay. So, beginning here, lift the feet up, bring the knees in, so the small of the back is pressed on the ground. Take the arms out to the side at the height of the shoulders. And moving on a deep, slow, rhythmic breath, inhale. And as you exhale, move the knees to the left side and your face to the right side. Slowly press the air out as the knees come down. Inhale, lift the knees to center. And exhale, the opposite direction. Each time the breath changes, the motion changes. Try and keep the breath and the posture linked up. So it's moving very slowly in the body, creating as long and smooth a breath as possible. Inhaling up and exhaling over. So not to worry if your range of motion isn't as far as mine. That range will come in time. Good. Try to keep both shoulders on the ground. The breath is in the back of the throat. And that sound creates a breath called ujjayi. It makes the diaphragm work just a little bit harder to push the air out through the windpipe that is just slightly constricted. And inhale. Bring the knees to center, one hand on each knee, and pull them into the chest, pushing the back into the ground and using the strength of your arms and shoulders to push the back even flatter. Also roll the shoulder blades into the ground. Now extending one leg and placing the opposite foot on top of the knee. Take the opposite hand, put it on the outside of that knee. Extend the opposite arm. So we've got the right leg straight, the left foot on top of that knee, the left arm extended, and the right hand on the outside of the knee. On the exhale, the face looks to the left and the knee comes to the right. Now, you may only be able to go about this far if you're having serious back problems. That's fine. Just hang out there, deepen the breath, and on each exhale, see if you can push that knee just slightly more toward the ground. Face again looks over to the outstretched arm, the opposite direction of the knees. So we're going to take about 10 long ujjayi breaths here. Keeping both shoulders on the ground and just slightly twisting. And inhaling. Take both knees into the chest, and this time wrap both your arms around and just lift the chin off the ground. Moving on to the other side. The left leg extends, right foot on top of that knee. Left hand on the outside of the knee. Inhale here, and exhale, slowly start to turn. Take several breaths to get into the maximum position for you. You might even hear a few little chiropractic adjustments as your spine goes back into place. Also feeling the stretch on the outside of that thigh and buttock. Long and smooth. Good. So to keep your mind from wandering, really concentrate on the flow of the breath and be very present in these positions. You'll get much more out of them. And one more full breath. Inhale, bring the knees in. Wrap the arms around. And lift the chin. Good. From here, arms back down on the ground. On the inhale, lift the heels up into the air. Flex the feet. On the exhale, bend the knees deeply. Press the small of the back into the ground. Inhale, reach. Exhale, flex. Inhale, reach. Good. Try and bring those heels right over your nose if you can. Moving on the breath, long and smooth. If your feet are just here, that's fine. Eventually, you'll be able to move them to here. Doing Ujjayi breathing through all of this actually does change the pattern of brain waves. So the breathing is really essential. Part of your back problem is that you've got a lot of tension. And relax. Bring the knees in. And on the inhale, coming up off the ground, very essential to move in this way. Roll over onto the right side. Use your hands to push you off the ground. Okay? It's much less stressing than coming up like that. That pulls into your spine. So you want to roll and push. Taking one heel in and the other heel right in front of it. Any cross-legged position is fine. If this isn't comfortable, put a pillow under the very back of your seat. It'll make you sit a little bit more like this. A little bit easier. Eventually the hips will open up and this will be a very comfortable sitting position. Take the hands in back of you. Good. Roll the shoulders back. Let the chest come up. And on the inhale, you're going to press onto the palms and just raise the hips up. Let the face look up. Very gently and carefully bring the head down. It's a small movement. The shoulder blades are pushing in toward the spine. The hips coming up and forward. And eventually being able to hold the position. If that's too tough right now, just keep moving on the breath, inhaling up and exhaling down. If you're holding, keep that same pattern of breathing. And exhale, come down. Good. Okay. And taking the legs apart. Pull the fleshy part of the butt back. You want to sit leaning on the front of your sit bones. Try not to be round-shouldered, but try to have length in that same area here in the solar plexus. The sternum is what holds you high. If you need to hold on, that's fine. Now, going into this position, it's essential that you keep the chest lifted. We're just going to tip forward. Slide the hands down. Don't pull into the neck. Just let the head stay exactly where it is, just floating on top of the shoulders. Exhale, ease into it. Inhale, ease up. Good. So just moving from that one place. Keep the chest open. And one last time. Good. Okay. And spinning to the side. Bring the feet together. Similar movement. Sitting tall. Hold on to the legs somewhere with a strong grip. It can be under the knees, down at the ankles, or if you're very open, around the sides of the feet. But let's start here. What I want you to do is inhale and just raise the chest, flatten the spine. Exhale, bend the elbows out and come forward. Notice how the head goes right into place. So you're not leaning into the cervical spine, but making the back of the neck soft and long. With each exhale, try and move the ribs forward. Not the head down, but the ribs forward. Good. You may need to be here, holding on tight, and just shifting. Just a little bit. You'll feel that stretch here in the sacrum. Good. Now flex the feet. Press the hands into the ground. Raise the chest. Good. Okay. Coming back down onto the ground. One foot into the ground with the knee up, and the other ankle directly on top in the center of that knee. Lift the foot off the ground and put the arms through. So right hand between the legs, left hand around, hold onto the knee and press. Just pull the ankle toward you. If you're out here, it's not going to work. Center that ankle right on the knee. Feel your spine settle into the ground. Long, smooth breath. moving deeper into the posture on the exhales. Inhale, release, and switch sides. Clasp the hands around the knee, ankle right in the center of that knee, near the top. Inhale, and exhale, pull closer. Good, so really using the strength of your bicep, the strength of your arms, to bring the knee and the foot closer to the chest. Keep the shoulders rolled down. Good, and release. Once again, take the knees into the chest. Good. Little roll from side to side. Good. And then to help lubricate the spine, we're going to roll backwards and forwards. So get a good grip on the knees. Tuck the chin slightly and roll. Good. And on a good strong roll, you might be able to come up to your feet. If you can't do that, well, we'll just keep working on that. What I want you to do is to take the feet so that they're hip distance apart, and take both hands, both elbows on the inside between the knees. Take the chest all the way down as far as you can. And just crouch down. Try and keep the feet so that they're parallel instead of kind of duck feet. And eventually, press the palms together. Bring the heels on the ground. Just let the head rest inside. Now, if you can't get your heels on the ground yet, that's quite all right. Good. Now, at best, you will do this position in this way so that the toes are together. The chest comes down. The arms extend. Find your balance and slowly bring the heels down. Good. Feel the back stretch. If you need to do this with the feet very wide apart, it's fine to do that. Press the palms and breathe through. To come down, just sit. Okay. So, I think your back will be quite loosened up by now. Let's address the tension, the mental tension that creates problems with your back. And let's just do a moment, just a minute or two of simple meditation. Following the breath around the spine. So closing the eyes. As you inhale, the breath comes up the back of the spine. So just imagine the flow of that breath coming up to the crown of the head. And on the exhale, sliding down the face, down the throat, through the heart, the solar plexus, the navel, and the perineum. Inhaling, coming back up the spine. And exhaling down. So just follow that breath for a moment or two, being sure that the chin is just slightly tucked so that the back of the neck extends just a little bit. You'll feel that in the brainstem. The chest is lifted, the collarbone's always wide, making the heart available. So with every single yoga practice, what we want to do is end in the very same position in Shavasana. Don't underestimate its value. It's quite important. So please, for the next 3, 4, 5 minutes, come onto your back. Let the feet flop out to the side. The hands a comfortable distance away with the palms up so that the shoulders roll open. Close the eyes and just remain. If your mind starts to fly around, go back to the breath. So, come join us again for that second part of Yoga Time, Strengthening the Back. I'm Marlon Braccia. Namaste.